Thank you. Okay, so we're going to dive into just some odds and ends today. Again, a couple of things that we want to cover out of the gates. After that, we will open it up to some questions. And so I'm going to go ahead and just ask for a minute. I have everybody on mute. If you cannot see my screen, if you'll take yourself off mute and let us know. Is there anybody who cannot see the iPad as it stands right now? Okay. Perfect. We're going to go ahead and move on. What I want to cover today is right up here in what we call the hamburger menu on the top left corner. As we click on that, I want to go through some of the sales materials that we have specifically set up for SunEdison. Hopefully you're aware of these, and I'm not going to go through these in detail, but I wanted to make you aware that they are here if you weren't already aware of that fact. And so you'll notice that we have all sorts of brochures. Under the sales materials, we have contract samples, leases, FAQs, modules, so on and so on and so forth. What you'll notice is as I scroll down to the very bottom is where we get into the training videos. Now, if I click on the training videos, we have broken these videos down into 3 categories. These are constantly being updated. We feel like we're in a pretty good spot with the videos there. They might be slightly outdated just as it pertains to some of the loan and finance options that we have available. But for the most part, you're going to find the information that you need inside of these training videos. What we encourage you to do if you're just using the application for the first time, if you're introducing new individuals to the application itself, the application, obviously, as you I'm sure are aware, is a fairly robust application. It will save both you and us on our end quite a bit of time if your new individuals that use the application, if you'll have them start by going through these training videos inside of the application. They do need to be downloaded while you're on Wi-Fi. Otherwise, they're too large. If you're relying on your cellular, if they're trying to do that while they're out in the field, that won't suffice. The nice thing is once they download those to their device on Wi-Fi, they will have those available in the field for future use. And so, again, training videos inside of here. We would encourage you to go through those, as those will give you very detailed and specific information. They're obviously done in all video with screen sharing so that you're able to not only hear but see what we're doing in those training videos. And so inside of the sales materials, that's where you'll find that there. Now I'm going to go back to the actual application itself. I want to go through territory creation right now. As I do that, though, I want to do a lead in with the organizations themselves. You'll notice the hierarchy that we've used to set up the individual dealers that are using the application so far inside of SunEdison. You'll notice that in the blue, whenever we have a blue tab up here, we are working inside of an organization. An organization is used to basically create boundaries and organize sales efforts inside of a specific geography. The organizations they have a number of things where you're able to use you're able to have owners, managers, and members, which we can talk about here in a few minutes. But then inside of organizations, we have a number of things contained therein. We have other sub-organizations. Now we call it a sub-organization if it's underneath the organization. And so technically, if I am an owner of SunEdison, all of these dealers underneath there would be sub-organizations to me. And so as we're talking with you on the phone or through email, that's the lingo and the jargon that we're going to use. Inside of, I'm going to go inside of SunEdison Inside Sales and show you, obviously now, once I go inside of this sub-org, I do have a number of territories inside of that sub-organization. Organizations are, again, they can be created by owners of an organization. And let me just go back out quickly. So say I'm inside of SunEdison, and for all of you on the call, I would imagine you're going to find yourselves inside of one of these organizations. So if I am inside of SunEdison Inside Sales, say I want to create a new sub-organization inside of there. You'll notice when I clicked on SunEdison Inside Sales, the boundaries of my organization have now changed from where I was with SunEdison. If I go back out, SunEdison gives me the entire United States as available area. If I go into SunEdison Inside Sales, my area is now limited to where SunEdison Inside Sales is able to work. Now inside of there, I may want to create a new sub-organization and break that down. I may have a regional manager, I may have another sales group, whatever the case may be. I want to section off a certain area for a sub-organization. So you'll notice now it's going to call it a new sub-org. So I'm going to click on new sub-organization. It's going to say, it's going to want a new organization name. I'm going to name it Test, so I remember to pull it off of here. I'll then add owners to that organization. Now, you'll notice what's happening on mine. You'll notice, and now that's just covering it up. Up here in the corner, you'll notice a little spinner right here next to the Wi-Fi symbol on there. What's happening is it's now querying our database for anybody that is available to select as an owner inside of there. It's taking quite a while for me because I'm a super admin over the entire application. And so what it's going to do is it's going to hit our database and pull out every single user inside of SunEdison for me as an option to be able to add as an owner. For you, it's not going to take as long, and you're only going to see those individuals that are in or assigned to your organization in one way or another. Now, you'll notice all of the different users here that have now come up. And again, I could scroll through, and we're going to have obviously hundreds of these users. So I'm going to scroll back up because I saw one that I would add. I'm going to say test user 22. I honestly don't know who that is. All I did was click on test user 22. You'll notice that it then added them as an owner inside of this new sub-organization called Test. The new sub-organization called Test, you'll notice, is inside of SunEdison Inside Sales. So again, I'm just creating different levels of hierarchy to help organize my team and to help organize our efforts. Say I click on test user 22 and realize that, you know what, I didn't want test user 22 to be an owner. I wanted them to be a manager, we'll say. All I need to do is just click on test user 22. You'll notice that they're no longer in the list. I then could go down to managers, and I could say I want to allow test user 22 to be a manager. And I want to go back to the owner section and click on test user 111 or new user 111 as my owner inside of there. Okay, you get the idea. So just as a quick reminder, owners inside of an organization and or territory have all of the rights and privileges inside of the application. Managers, the only thing they can't do that owners can is bring new people into the application itself. They can assign people to territories, they can create new territories, they just cannot bring new people into the application. We did that by design. Again, we did that so that if you did have a rogue manager out in the field that decided to invite all of his friends that work for other companies into the application, they would not be able to do so. If you have individuals that are currently managers, that you need to have that ability to be able to bring new people into the application and create those invitations, then you just simply need to make them an owner. Go ahead. Beth wanted to add something as well. Go ahead.
The one thing right now, the availability to make someone an owner, you need to actually just submit an email to support@datareef.com, and we will actually create them as an owner so that we have the availability of being able to do that. It's not a user availability to change roles at this point in time.
Thank you. And again, that's by design, where we have as many users as we have and as much attrition back and forth. We've been asked to lock down the application as much as we can. So it's a little bit cumbersome now by design, but just let us know, again, if those changes need to be made. We'll be happy to do those. Members are able to go inside the application. They're able to effectively work territories inside of the application that they are assigned to. These would typically be your front-end sales individuals that would be assigned as members inside of the application. Okay, let me skip down. We're going to hit boundaries. You'll notice now what it's going to do is it's going to ask me, okay, here's what's available for SunEdison Inside Sales in your new sub-organization. What would you like to do? I'm going to go ahead and just say I want to use the entire state of Nevada. Now, if I click anywhere but the plus symbol in Nevada, it will just light up the entire state of Nevada for me. If I click out of it, it comes back out. If I want to drill down and only take a portion of Nevada, I would click on the plus symbol. It would say, okay, do you want to select Nevada or do you want to zoom in? I actually want to zoom in. It then obviously is going to break up Nevada into various sections for me that I can then go, I can drill further and further just like I would be able to with the territory. Maybe I just want to have what we'll consider the lower half of Nevada as my territory. It's giving me numbers of homes and shapes inside of those areas, obviously, as you'll see here. I do have 5 boundaries selected, as you'll notice, and then I'm going to go ahead and click Finish. So if I click Finish, what that will now do is that has now created a new sub-organization inside of SunEdison Inside Sales, and you'll notice that I don't have any members, I don't have any sales, and I don't have any sub-organizations inside of there. I do have an owner and I do have a manager inside of there, but I don't have any team members assigned. So you have some high-level metrics here that'll give you an idea of where you stand with that organization. Okay, let me quickly go in and show you how to create a territory inside of that organization. So now again, I have a test sub-organization, but I have nowhere to work. I don't have any territories created and no one assigned to those territories. At that point, I'm going to go back to the 3-dot menu here on the right, and I'm going to say I want to create a new territory. For me, my preference is to do the new territory select. I know some of you in the past have had some issues with the lasso. It's up to you what you would like to use. I like to select because I'm able to move very quickly and create the territories in that way. Notice what it's going to do is it's going to start with a name for the territory. I'm actually going to call it something different so that I can show you how to effectively change that. You'll notice then now my entire user interface has changed to orange, basically explaining that now I'm working on a territory instead of an organization. Click on boundaries. You'll be familiar with this. Now you'll notice that again I am now limited to what I'm able to do, to what I'm able to see. I can't create a territory in Carson City or in Reno. I'm not part of that area, and this is what I have access to. So at this point, I would want to create a territory. I'm going to zoom in on. We'll go in this area here and break it down. And what it's going to do is it's going to then say, okay, do I want to use that area or do I want to zoom in? And I can continue, as you've seen in the past, to zoom in from here. Doesn't look like we've got much going on in this area here. I see wilderness study area out in the middle of nowhere out here. So what it's going to do is it's just going to load some additional shapes inside of there for me. At this point, I can come in and I can say, okay, wow, these are some really strange areas. You can tell we're in the middle of nowhere. I'm going to go ahead and cancel this. I'm going to come back out and go into a more populated area. We're going to go back into define boundaries. Let's go down into the Vegas area. Obviously, there's going to be homes there that we'll be able to use. So what it's doing now, you'll see that it's spinning. It's loading all sorts of different blocks that I can use as I'm creating a territory. I can click on one and it's going to give me an idea of how many homes are in there. 1,200 homes. Okay. There are 1,200 homes inside of this section. That's obviously too large for me for the territory. We typically want to create territories the size of about 250 homes. And so I'll continue to drill down inside of here until I can get to that ideal number. Looks like we're getting closer now. If I click on this, don't know why, there we go, 272 homes, kind of a funky shape. I'll then go into members. You'll notice again what it's going to do. It's going to take a moment because I'm an owner of SunEdison as a whole. It's going to take a moment to load all of the potential members inside of the application itself. Once these do load, just like in the organization, I'm able to add them to that territory and create the territory. Now, the difference will be when I add somebody to this territory and click finish, at the end of that, what will happen is whoever I have as assigned as a member of that territory will then receive an email from the application automatically that alerts them to the fact that they've been assigned as a member of that territory. And when they log into the application itself, they will then be able to use the application inside of this territory. We'll leave it as test 2. Again, we can change the name, but as I click finish now, you'll notice that it's now saving that territory. And as soon as that's saved, we will see it in the list underneath our new sub-organization that I believe we've labeled test. And so that's how we create territories inside of the application territories and organizations. I know there's been some concern on how to do that. Now, as soon as this loads, I want to go through and show you how we would remove an individual inside of that organization. Before we get there, again, notice here's the new sub-organization that I created. If at any time I want to add new individuals to that organization, say I hired somebody new that I want to be an owner, all I need to do, go back to the 3-dot menu. I click edit. It's going to bring up the same UI that we had before, and so I can go in and I can say, you know what, I want to add owners to it. Every time I do that, it's going to chug on all of those. If I go into the territory, same thing. As I click on the territory, I can then click on the 3-dot menu, and I can either edit it, I can create a new territory, and or delete from that 3-dot menu. Okay. Couple of other things here as we and again, that's where I would remove somebody. So if I go in there and click edit, you'll notice that it shows a member of a test user 22. I can go into test user 22, and if I click on test user 22, you'll notice that they are now deleted. So again, it's going to load every single one of those names, but you'll notice that I took test user 22 out of there. They are no longer assigned to that territory. If I click finish, it's now going to save the changes that I've made to that territory. Okay, so that's the main way that we're going to keep track of who's inside of the application and who's not. Give this just a minute to finish. Now I'm going to go in. You'll notice now if I go into this territory, I'm going to load the homes. And notice what I did, it obviously prompts me to go in and load the homes when I first go in. And so I'm going to go in and I'm going to zoom in, and it's going to load the homes for me inside of that area. As I pan around the map, they're going to come through. Let's cover for a moment pre-screens, and then we'll go from there. Now you'll notice that again I have lists of homes inside of here, but none of which have been pre-screened to date. Okay, here is how we're going to pre-screen. Now managers and owners that have the appropriate amount of tokens are able to pre-screen a given area. Those that do not have tokens or that level of usership inside of the application will not be able to do it. We do get a number of calls and emails from those that are labeled as members or sales reps inside of the application saying, hey, I've been assigned an area and it has not been pre-screened. So we would ask from our end if you would make sure that as you assign those areas out, make sure that they get pre-screened for them. Obviously at that point we have to just turn them back around to you on your end and help make the connection there that they need to be able to get the area pre-screened so that they'll be able to work. But just as a quick reminder, we click pre-screen and it will bring up a dialog box. Notice, remember when we created the territory, it said there were 272 homes. It shows that I have enough credits available. I'm going to go ahead and agree to the terms of the pre-screen, and then I'll click pre-screen. Again, this will take just a second to be able to do that. It's running a live batch pre-screen on these homes individually, and therefore going to tell me who qualifies for the service and who does not based on the pre-screen criteria. You'll notice this area here, it's interesting as I pan around, definitely not definitely not one of those areas we'd want to spend probably a lot of time just based on the return we're getting with the pre-screens specifically. And so obviously this is the magic of the application, being able to go to this door and then skip and then go to this door. So credits, I know there's been some question inside of the application, how do we get more credits? And oftentimes managers and owners have come to us asking us how we get more credits to run those pre-screens. Those are not managed by us on our end. Just so that you're aware, what happens is we allocate a number of those credits at the highest level inside of SunEdison, and then at that point, you would hopefully be more familiar with the processes as to get those pre-screens there. I do have, if every time someone has asked us how we get more credits, we've basically just referred them to our main liaison, Mike Mattioli, who has asked that if there are individuals who are saying, hey, we're not getting the pre-screens, we're not getting the tokens that we need or the credits that we need to be able to run those, to get with him. And so we've been sending all of that information onto there. And so just making a plea to you that if you do ask us for tokens and so forth, obviously per the arrangement with SunEdison, that's the way that we need to handle it from there, is just to make them aware and then allow them to work that out. So those are pre-screens. That's how those work. That process, just so you know, is going to change slightly over the next 30 days. We'll need to dedicate probably most of a webinar to update you on those changes once those are implemented. For now, this is how it works, and so forth. So let me go a little bit into dispositions. I know 2 or 3 webinars ago we covered the proposal tool in detail. Let me just go into again some of the dispositioning, and then I'm going to go ahead and stop and open it up for questions that you may have to this point. So inside of here, a couple of things as we go into dispositions. First of all, you'll notice if I click on the team tab, it's not going to bring anybody up. I took that user out. So this is basically a territory waiting to be assigned at this point. You'll notice there's a new invitation button at the bottom. So some of you I know are creating territories before you assign individuals to them. That's fine. You can come back in. You can either go into the edit and add people that are already inside of the application into that territory, or you could have a brand new salesperson that you want to send an invitation to. And if you click new invitation, it'll go through the process to invite them to the application for the first time and then assign them to this territory test 2. Statistics, you'll notice here, our key performance indicators, we don't have any doors knocked, we don't have any appointments set, no proposals, 0 sold, and you'll notice that this is so interesting. Out of 272 eligible properties, there were only 39 that passed. Again, imagine all of your competitors going to every single one of these doors along here, not knowing beforehand that those people do not qualify for solar. So very, very powerful. Again, that's an extremely low pass rate, but it is what it is. And so that's what we're seeing in this given territory we created. Proposals, if I click on the proposal tab here, this is where I would have any proposals that had been generated inside of this territory to date. Obviously, we have not dispositioned any, we have not created any proposals, and so they will not show up as we get here inside of this area. So let me let me bounce back in. We have the homes loaded. I just want to cover dispositioning again very quickly. You'll notice that obviously if I click on the home, Thomas Tackett, I'm going to get an image of the home. I'm then going to be able to have a number of detailed pieces of information on that individual and those that live there. History tab, obviously history tab is where it will track any what we call dispositions or contacts made with that individual. So let me demonstrate. As I click on this individual, I'm going to say that he was not home. So Thomas Tackett was not home. As I click on history, you'll notice that it says he was not home February 3rd, 10:35 a.m. by Brett Iverson. This will just continue to create a log for you if you have multiple contacts with this individual. This proposal button here obviously is the same as it was for the territory, but only based for this individual here. If I had a proposal or multiple proposals generated for Thomas, they would be displayed here. I could click on any of those at any time and go back into that specific proposal for the individual with which I'm working. Okay, I'm going to go back into details, and I want to show you again here in Thomas Tackett, we do have the 3-dot menu that we're familiar with in both the organizations and the territories. As I click on that, you'll notice that I do have an edit button here. And admittedly, many of you are probably not supposed to see this button here. I'll explain what it is, but I have that just, I don't have to explain why. But what I want you to see is the edit capability here. Now, if I go and I knock on the door and realize that, you know what, for whatever reason, Thomas has changed his name, maybe he doesn't live there anymore, whatever the case may be, we've given you the ability to change any of these individual records however need be. Maybe all it is you picked up a phone number for him and wanted to add that to the record. As you add that into this record, I need you to know any changes that you do to this are going to stay on your device locally. So we don't want you to be afraid that you're going to be out hustling for accurate information and then giving it to others to benefit from your work. That's not the case. Any changes that you do to the application, to the records themselves, will be stored locally on your device. Again, that's created that way by design. I'm going to go ahead and cancel and go into just again show you some of the other dispositions. Under not sold, we've been asked to put a number of different reasons as to why they may not be sold, so that'll give you more detail as you go back and run the analytics on your given territories as to why, what's happened as your different dispositions and so on. Obviously, if we go into proposal at that point, I can just go ahead and disposition this as proposal. Now, obviously, I haven't created a proposal, but we have given you the ability to change that disposition to a proposal. There are circumstances where you may want to disposition it as such. If I want to actually create a proposal for Thomas, we then click the proposal button at the bottom here, which will take us into the entire proposal tool, both into the contracts and beyond. The little note tab right here is useful as well. It's going to bring up just an opportunity for me to take detailed notes. I may want to just call this now a callback instead of a proposal because I haven't created a proposal. I think we demonstrated this last time, so I'll run through it quickly. I may want to add a title to it. For me, I love to use the microphone button, especially when I'm out in the field. If I click on the microphone button, this is a very interested contact. Click done. I'm going to go down to notes, click on the tab. Well, and now it's recording me. Hold on. Let me go back, and you get the idea. These people are very interested. I need to make sure and come back and talk to the spouse. Now I've messed it up. I click done. It's going to chug for a minute. I'm not sure what I've done with my microphone, but you get the idea. What it will do is it'll allow you to take detailed notes inside of there. You can also go through, obviously, let me click on this and show you. I can obviously come in and I can type information as well if I want to. The final thing I wanted to show you is if we create an event inside of here, this gives me the ability to set a reminder or to do a specific callback for them. It's going to pre-populate. I can then come in, I can set even an alert. If you have iOS devices, you'll be familiar with this capability. And I can say, remind me today at, I'll just say 1 p.m. To do a callback, and we'll click add. At that point, we then come down and click save. And now let's go to our history tab. So we go to the history tab. You'll notice that I have the different inquiries there that give me an idea of what's happened to that point. So that's what we had planned to cover for today. inside of the application. I do want to stop right here, and I'm going to take people off of mute. And if they're actually, there we go, give you the opportunity, if you have individual questions, to go ahead and ask those questions at this time. We'll do our very best to answer them for you. If there aren't questions, or if you need to jump off the call, we just want to thank you for coming on. The intent is to do these as often as we can. Our schedule is currently weekly that we'll be doing these. We'll do our very best to make you aware of any changes. We appreciate you being flexible yesterday. As we had a conflict we were not able to work around. So let's open it up at this point for any specific questions that you may have.
That was really informative. I don't have any questions at this moment.
Thank you, Ruby. We appreciate you being on. We'll again, if you have specific needs or questions as you're out there in the field, please send us that information, and we'll do our best to cover that in the following webinar.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Are there any other additional questions that anybody has at this point?
Yeah, this is Steve. I just have one quick one, and it's a little off topic, but I was just curious, the relative accuracy of the pinging of these homes, so to speak. Do you guys find it's high, it's low, it's hit or miss depending on the area? Just curious, because I haven't used the application before, and I'm just trying to figure out
Great question.
a general feel for it.
Great question. Let me give you probably a more detailed response than you may want, but I think it'll help you moving forward. So
That's fair.
the information is extremely accurate. For us to say that it's 100% would be absolutely false. Let me explain a couple of things. What we do is we aggregate our data from a number of different sources nationwide. It comes from public record, from consumer data, from financial data, to all different sorts of psychodemographic data as well. And so what we do is we get that data from a number of different sources and put that into our own data set on our end. What we do in addition to that is we then take the credit information that we have. And so when we run a pre-screen on an area, we're actually taking that credit pre-screen data, which is extremely accurate, and making any additional changes we need to the other data sets that we have to date. So, long answer to a short question. We are actually literally started yesterday the process of uploading the entire United States again for another refresh of the data, the demographic data. And so, if you're finding that you're running into homes, which you will, I'll tell you right now, you will run into places or individuals where they don't live there anymore, or someone rents there, and so forth. And in those cases, again, we just ask you to use the edit. The pre-screen data, really the only thing that could, well, there are a couple of things that could make the pre-screen data inaccurate. If they've gone out and they've purchased a car, and now their debt to income ratio is on in the last month, and so forth. So things like that are going to occur, but by and large, the data is very accurate. So great question.
Thanks for the info. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Any other questions before we let you go? Okay, we'll go ahead and end the meeting now. Again, we would just encourage you. You don't need to wait until next week. If you're having struggles with the application, shake the device or give us a call and let us help you through it. And we just appreciate you being on. We would also encourage you, if you're a manager, you're an owner in your organization, make sure and get any and all of those that feel like they need to have a refresh on the application. Make sure that you make them aware of the training as well. Next week, my hope is that we can go through and give some more detailed training inside of the proposal piece, and specifically the financial offerings inside of the proposal. Obviously, we have the PPA. I know some of you are looking at doing loan offerings and so forth. There's quite a bit there. I want to go through some of that, assuming we can get a green light from SunEdison to be able to roll that out to the masses. So thank you all for coming on, and we'll go ahead and plan on seeing you in a week. Next week, we will plan on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. Again, our normal time, Tuesday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Have a great day. Good luck out there, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.